Hey everybody, so let's talk about Sasquatch. Did Sasquatch always live on Earth as their origin? Was the question. And this one is uh, convoluted, is the word that comes to mind. Um, that's the word that's being popped in my head because it's not a simple answer. They didn't always live on Earth as their origin. There are numerous versions of them, numerous types of them. And one of the things that I talk about is how the idea of limiting things descriptively becomes a problem in our mythology, our lore, the different things that we discuss, because humans want a single answer and there's not one. This is an example of this. Now, there are people out there that will say Sasquatch is extraterrestrial in origin, meaning galactic. There are those who will say they are interdimensional in origin, meaning just of another dimension. There are those who will say they are from Earth, meaning of our physical Earth and evolution of humanity. There are those who have other theories. I've even heard of people just calling him a big dumb ape in the woods. That's not actually the case. So, uh, my understanding, and I always try to give you the kind of the overview and definition of those I'm talking about. The beings that I know as Sasquatch, those that are my Sasquatch friends, when I've asked them, they say they come from off Earth. They say they come from another planet. I have not met one who says they are evolved from Earth. I do know there are people that discuss them being evolved from Earth, and I don't believe that that's false. I believe that's true. I just believe that there are so many of these beings that people are trying to limit themselves with one statement rather than speaking to the groups and going, oh, where are you from? Where's your history from? And for the ones that I know, like Hito, they say their ancestral past is from other planets, so that they evolved on other planets. I have seen Sasquatches on other planets. That's something that I don't mention too much, but I have seen them multiple times on other planets, working with other races in unison, unity, and no division. Show you some of the backdrop, maybe if you can see it, but working with other beings and those types of things, and they are on other planets. I talked to one who lived on a snow world. He wasn't a Yeti, but he was a Sasquatch. That's what he said anyway. And went to his village and just kind of held on to him because I was astral traveling and I couldn't like see and experience because of the blizzard was so strong. It was like I could only see him, but I couldn't make out the rest of the world. And so I held on to him through this snowstorm, and he took me to a village that they lived in, and the area of the world that they were on was just a very snow heavy area, but they are on other planets. Now, are they of Earth origin? I feel that when some people say that they are of Earth origin, there's also a resonance. Not everybody is ready to resonate with galactics. And so, what I find is that some of the stories are easier for people to understand if you say they're from Earth, especially people who are steeped in vibrations of Gaia and shamanism that have not ascended higher to accept and resonate at higher frequencies where other beings exist. There are a lot of people that can accept that Sasquatch is real, but not necessarily that galactic beings are here. And then we get a lot of, you know, um, villainy portrayed over galactics. And usually it's just because it's a resonance issue. People have to wake up and be activated to different things. And I think one of the things that people have to be activated to is this idea of limiting, this idea of being able to observe the moment and go, you know, the mythology, the lore, I'm just not going to follow it. I don't read it myself. I haven't read it since I was in high school. I haven't really studied or watched the documentaries and all that since then when it comes to the cryptozoology. And that's for a reason, because I'm like, it just doesn't seem like it's one thing. And what I found out is that's the case. Here's an example: there are a group of Sasquatches that I work with that are very clear. We are not Bigfoot. We are not all these different beings. We are Sasquatch. And then I went down to Arkansas and met one that looked more like a sun bear version of a Sasquatch. Like it had, if you've seen a sun bear face, they have like yellow and these round faces and stuff. It looked more like that, but like a Sasquatch. And so I called her. She gave me a name, and I forget. It's in my book because I haven't really talked to her. But when I did talk to her, I was like, "Oh, what are you?" And she's like, "Bigfoot." And I'm like, "Wait a second. They don't like to be called Bigfoot." And she's like, "No, I want to be called Bigfoot." I'm like, "Oh, okay. I'll call you Bigfoot then." It's all based on who you're talking to. All of these things. And so some beings will say, "Yeah, we're Sasquatch, but we're from space." And others will say, "Well, we're from Earth." And the thing that people forget is that just because there is a Sasquatch being from outer space, from another planet, and there is one from Earth, doesn't mean it's impossible that they both evolved separately. Maybe evolution, maybe it's just a natural evolution of Homo sapiens. And Homo sapiens are all over the galaxy. I guarantee, like, there are more humans out there than you can even imagine. And maybe the form that we have, one of the natural evolutions, is just to turn into a Sasquatch-like being, which means that you would have some that say, "Oh, our ancestry is of Earth," others of the stars, others were created, and those types of things. That's also why you get differences in lore where you have some people saying, "Well, they're part of the fairy realm." I don't agree with that. That's not my experience. What they've told me is they're a separate layer. They're not part of the fae dimension, but they're of a separate layer. And there's confusion there. So you get people disseminating all kinds of different ideas and not considering that they might be limiting by only sticking to one idea, and not understanding that you really have to talk to them. You have to talk to them to truly understand, who are they? What are they? You know, what's their intention? All of that. And that's why I push against the mythology and lore so much, because there's so much of it that kind of leads you down one path, and it's a path of limiting. It's a path of, because somebody wrote it or somebody said it, that's the truth. And that's not the whole truth. It might be part of the truth, but a lot of the times, remember too, people who write about cryptozoology, 9 times out of 10 aren't spiritually connected. 9 times out of 10, they're not talking to these beings. 9 times out of 10, they're just researching other stuff and writing their own version of it. So that's the other thing I say, is when you're studying cryptozoology, is be careful, because how do you know what it is if you didn't talk to it? You got to be able to talk to it to truly understand it. So hopefully that helps. Love you all.